You've probably seen the headlines about India's economy lately, right? The numbers are huge, and everyone's talking about it being one of the fastest growing major economies on the entire planet. But where do these incredible figures actually come from? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and get right into the story behind the numbers.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the big picture. The headline numbers that have got everybody talking. These figures really paint a picture of an economy with some serious momentum on the world stage.
And when you look at it visually, wow, the story is just one of this incredibly rapid upward climb. The latest data isn't just showing an economy that's growing, it looks like it's accelerating, charting this really steep path that's grabbing everyone's attention. Now, this table really puts it all into perspective. Look at this. India has now officially climbed to become the world's fourth largest economy by nominal GDP, even overtaking Japan. But the real kicker is that last column. That 6.2% real GDP growth, that is the highest among these top six economies by a long shot. And if you thought that was impressive, get this. The most recent quarterly data is even more stunning, a growth rate of 7.8%. That just blew past all the forecasts, which were hanging around 7.2%. It's a pretty remarkable figure. So when you see a number that big, you gotta ask, right? How did we get here? What's actually driving this? Is it just some kind of temporary surge, or is there something more fundamental happening under the hood?
And that right there is the central question for us today. What is the real story behind these numbers? As it turns out, the answer is less about a sudden, unexpected economic boom and way more about a huge change in how that economy is actually being measured.
Yep, the secret is right here. Kind of hidden in plain sight in this government press release. The government has introduced a completely new series for calculating GDP, and it comes with a new base year. And listen, this isn't just some minor tweak. This is a fundamental overhaul of the entire measurement system. So to really understand the impact of this change, we first have to get our heads around this key economic concept at the very heart of it all, the base year. So first, a super quick refresher. Gross domestic product, or GDP. It's the most common yardstick we have for measuring the size and the health of an economy. It basically adds up the total value of everything produced inside a country over a certain amount of time. Okay, so to measure growth over time without getting things all twisted by inflation, economists use what's called a base year as a fixed point of comparison. Think of it like an operating system for the economy. The old system, the one we were using, was based on how the economy looked way back in 2011-12. The new one, it's based on 2022-23, and it's designed to capture a vastly, vastly different economic world. So why pick that specific year? Well, the government chose 2022-23 for a few key reasons. For one, it's the most recent normal period we have after all the disruptions from the pandemic. But more importantly, it's a snapshot of an economy that has gone through a decade of massive change. We're talking about the explosion of digital services and a huge push into renewable energy. And just to be clear, this is so much more than just changing a date on the calendar. This operating system update brings in a whole bunch of new data sources and fine-tuned methods, all to create a more accurate, more robust picture of India's modern economy. Now, this is what's really cool. The quality of the new data is a total game changer. The system is now pulling in high-frequency, super detailed data from digital platforms like the Goods and Services Tax Network, government payment systems, and even national vehicle registrations. This gives us a much more dynamic, almost real-time view of what the economy is doing. And the whole goal, in the government's own words, is really clear and simple. The entire exercise is designed to create a measurement system that can accurately reflect the realities of a rapidly evolving economy. Makes perfect sense. So what did they actually upgrade? Well, it kind of boils down to three key technical things. First, refined deflation. That just means they have better ways to separate real growth from just prices going up. Second, supply use tables. This helps them cross-check everything to make sure what's being produced actually matches up with what's being spent. And finally, by updating ratios, they're using the absolute latest survey data to make all the calculations as current as possible. Okay, so we've gone through a lot of the what and the how. But let's wrap this up with the most important question of all. Why should you care about what seems like a pretty technical statistical update? What's the real-world impact here? Well, here's the bottom line. It matters because a more accurate and timely picture of the economy allows governments, and businesses for that matter, to make smarter, more informed decisions. Better data leads to better policy, and that can impact everything from big infrastructure projects to social programs. And this new, clearer picture is already pointing towards some continued strength. Based on this brand new framework, the official GDP growth estimate for the upcoming 2025-26 fiscal year is a very, very robust 7.6%. So at the end of the day, this whole revision gives us a much better lens to understand India's economy as it is today. It really captures a decade of unbelievable change. But it also leaves us with a pretty fascinating question. As things like digital transformation and AI start to reshape the world even faster, how are we going to measure the next chapter of growth? Not just for India, but for the entire global economy. Something to think about.